Hi, welcome to the COVID-19 Lake Norman and North Mecklenburg briefing call. Today is Friday, May 22nd. Memorial Day is Monday, so we'll have a long weekend ahead of us. My name is John Bradford. I've been your briefing call moderator. This completes our 9th week of doing these calls 3 days a week. I'm a small business owner. I have 2 businesses right here in North Mecklenburg, about 40 employees. I'm a former member of the North Carolina House of Representatives, and I've been moderating these calls to try to help our area. The purpose of the calls has been to bring together healthcare experts, government officials, and business leaders to provide regular COVID-19 briefings to help update, educate, and support the North Mecklenburg region during the outbreak. In terms of the national statistics, we're at 1.5 million cases, 93,000 deaths. That's up 1,300 deaths from yesterday. We had our call on Wednesday. We were at 90,000 deaths. So that looks about 3,000 deaths across the U.S. in the last couple of days. The heat map here, there's a new set of colors here. They've gone to, it looks like blues and greens. And North Carolina is running about middle of the pack. There are other states that are much darker bluer than we are. But this will give you an indicator as to where the hot spots are, if you will, in all the states here in the U.S. In terms of North Carolina, this is new news just reported a few minutes ago by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. We're at 728 deaths, a little over 21,000 cases, 568 currently hospitalized. Comparing that to Wednesday, a few days ago, we were at 691 deaths, and we were at 585 hospitalized. So basically the hospitalization number, came down just a little bit. So it does look as though that hospitalization number continues to remain relatively flat. It ebbs and flows a little bit. And our death count does continue to increase a little bit. And one death is one death too many. But it does look like things have continued to either trend down or stay flat. We are at 100 out of 100 counties impacted. So every county does have a reported positive case of COVID-19. And as you can see, here's the heat map. I put a little arrow to Mecklenburg County. There's no surprise that the most dense areas are going to be where we have the most cases, Mecklenburg being one of those. Just some information provided by DAHS and Department of Public Safety and North Carolina Emergency Management. The trends of positive tests clearly coming down. You can look at that yellow line, 7% positive tests, and that number has clearly downward trending, which is why we're moving to the next phase. In terms of hospitalizations, this scale is not very big, so it doesn't take but a tick up to show that this yellow line can go up or down. But you can see this number is relatively flat, and we just got to keep a close eye on the hospitalizations, but it has seemed to be trending flat over time. Today, as many of you know, we are moving into phase 2 at 5 p.m. So the stay-at-home executive order does expire today. And we're now moving into what they're calling a safer at home, what's called an initiative. It's not an order, it's just you're safer at home. So if you feel more vulnerable, you're definitely safer at home. So the executive order does expire today at 5 p.m. and we are now into phase 2. Now phase 2 today is different than what phase 2 was described a few weeks ago. So let's talk a little bit about phase 2. What is going to be open are businesses around healthcare, essential businesses, retail, childcare, day camps, overnight camps, parks and beaches. What continues to be closed, bars and nightclubs, public playgrounds, gyms and fitness studios, and then indoor entertainment venues. 50% capacity, here are the following things that are opening: restaurants, personal care, grooming, massage, tattoo businesses, and even indoor and outdoor public pools. Now it is 50% capacity, and there's other requirements that are provided to different businesses in terms of social distancing and hygiene and monitoring and things like that. For mass gathering, the limit still remains 10 people indoors, 25 outdoors. So that number has increased if you're outdoor. So meeting and event venues, amphitheater, sporting venues and arenas, groups at beaches and parks. If you're going to go outside to a beach at park, you need to have no more than 25 people together. That's the mass gathering limit. One thing, I posted this on my Elect Bradford page, let's talk a little bit about wineries and breweries. I'm trying to help drive to get an exception or some clarity, but it appears as though these folks are not able to open. And that really just doesn't make sense to me. Breweries and wineries usually are issued certificate occupancy levels based on restaurant capacity in terms of spacing, not the same as bars, because bars, a lot of standing room only. Restaurants, there's more tables, so there has to be naturally more space. So these folks have to follow the restaurant guidelines, and they're not allowed to serve any type of hard liquor, so they're clearly not a bar. They usually are serving beer or wine, or both. And they have tables, and many of these these establishments don't serve food, but what they do is they partner with food trucks. And so it just seems to me that if these types of businesses could have food trucks that come out, if they could practice the same safety protocols as restaurants, meaning you order your beer or wine on a menu, you can sit spaced 6 feet apart at tables, just like in a restaurant. Food is available at a food truck. Then it just doesn't make sense to me why this would not be applicable for opening. I'm hopeful that a change will be made, and I'm doing what I can at this point to try to help. But I just want to shed some light on this, that this seems to be a little bit of common sense here, and so we just need some clarity or an exception. And so I'll continue to do my work to try to push this. But again, they're going to operate just like a restaurant. Why not let them open? So those are my thoughts, and just want to share it with you. And I put these types of things out on Elect Bradford for you to follow. And we've had lots of comments, overwhelmingly, people seem to agree, like this is common sense. Remember the 3 W's, wear a face mask. That is not required, but it's recommended. Wait 6 feet apart to keep your social distance, and be sure to wash your hands. And of course, it's always a good idea to use hand sanitizer. For business owners who maybe want to have some face shields, we have a North Carolina-based company in Kinston, and they have a local person right here in Cornelius who actually reached out to me to share with all of you. They sell these thermoplastic nylon shields and frames. They're $8 a piece, and they seem like they'd be much more comfortable to wear, in my opinion, and some of the other things I've seen. And they're $8 a piece, and you can wipe these down, and they meet all the FDA guidance for restaurants and other safety protocols. So there's a website right here on the screen. They're called Layered Manufactured and Consulting. I'll give you the phone number, 248-210-1021. But if you see this on the computer, you can go to their website, layeredmanufacturingandconsulting.com. And they're $8 a piece, which seems pretty affordable. They're using laser printers to make these. So they've pivoted, and they're really helping. And they've donated over 2,000 of these to first responders. So I want to give credit where credit's due. They really have jumped in to help. If you want to use cloth face coverings, I've talked about this on most of my calls. Indera Mills, another North Carolina-based company, $2 a mask. They have youth and adult sizes available. You order them in 12 dozen packs. That's a minimum order, 12 dozen, so $24. And you can order them. You can throw them in the washing machine. I've ordered several dozen of these, and I wear them when I go out, and I've given them to family, friends, employees. So here's another place, shopinderamills.com. Their phone number is 1-800-334-8605, option 1. Mecklenburg County data, there's 2,945 positive cases and 73 deaths. What's interesting is there has been a reported death of a 43-year-old with, at least this point, no reported underlying conditions. So that is a unique data point. Almost all the other deaths have been greater than 60 years old, and only 4 deaths were between 50 and 50. So just a reminder that this is a serious virus, and no one is exempt from perhaps catching it and perhaps even dying. But the data does show that the most vulnerable are going to be senior adults with underlying chronic illnesses. And then more than half of the deaths here in Mecklenburg County have been contributed to active outbreaks at long-term care facilities. But I did want to report that there has been 1 reported death of a 43-year-old. And at least, again, at this point in time, there seems to be no underlying chronic condition. So just wanted to share that with you. Visit Lake Norman. They have some great things there. If you want to order a care package for someone and put a special note, they'll make it, ship it out for you right away. You can go to their website, visit lakenorman.org. I try to give my panelists a break on Fridays, but we've had an incredible lineup of people, both Republicans and Democrats. This virus, I like to say, knows no politics. Really done a good job on this call to really try to stay away from that. We've just been reporting data, be informed, and this data you can't always go get on websites. So I just want to thank all of our panelists, and they've been very important to the call, and I know they've enjoyed it. It's a lot of time that they put into this, but I just want to thank them. I do post these calls every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Elect Bradford, which is a Facebook page. Also, my Twitter, John Ray Bradford, is out there. Joe Bruno from WSIC, he always retweets them, so that's very helpful. So if you want to get these when I post them, you can follow me at those two places. Monday is Memorial Day. We're not going to have a briefing. A briefing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Monday is a day to reflect. And I just want to thank all of our men and women of the armed services, both past, present. My father served, my father-in-law served, and so take a moment and thank a veteran. Come Monday. So we'll have no briefing on Monday. Our next briefing will be Wednesday, May 27th. And if you have any questions, I have this email, lkntogether@gmail.com, lkntogether@gmail.com. We are stronger together. I hope you'll take care of yourself, take care of each other. Thank you for listening. Be safe. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. And again, thank a veteran for all that they've done to keep us free and to give us, what we have, which is something that sometimes seems to be easily forgotten, and it should not be. So this does conclude today's call. Thanks again.